Got another gasser to work on. This one's a 2008 F-250 543 valve. It's got 208,000 miles on it. Already looked at it. Figured I'd take you guys for a ride. Runs bad, runs poorly. And the customer said that they tuned it up, put some coils in it, and it was skipping on number, I think number 4 or number 6, and also number 8, but definitely number 8. So the tune-up didn't help anything, and we got some base engine issues. And come to find out, this is not the original engine, so we don't know how many miles it has on it. They could have given us that information though when he dropped the vehicle off. So let's take a look at what I've done. So obviously we get out the trusty scan tool because we're running bad. We'll see what the source of the badness is. Now if we do a self-test, we should get an injector circuit too, because I unplugged the number 8 injector. It was running so poorly I was afraid it was going to damage the catalytic converters. It's spraying fuel that's not being burned right into the exhaust. Oh man. Yeah, so we got a number 8 injector circuit. We're not worried about it because that, like I said, I unplugged it. So ignition coil A primary, so A would be cylinder number 1, and coil H primary, that would be cylinder number 8. Now I've got number 8 unplugged. So anytime I get a power balance issue, excuse me, a cylinder contribution issue, skipping, running rough or whatever, I just go straight to a power balance screen and take a look at what it looks like. It's easy, it's least intrusive, we're already right here. So you can see cylinder number 8's right off the chart. Okay. I don't know if you could hear it, but it's running pretty poorly. So after I've done this test, my immediate next test, which is extremely accurate on gas motors, is to do a relative compression test. It's much more accurate than a diesel relative compression test. Alright, so let me hold the throttle down. And cylinder 8 there again is off the charts. That's extremely low, and you can hear it cranking over. Sounds real funny cranking over. So that's that on that. So that's that with the scan tool. That's all we got to do with that. So the next step is to do a manual compression test. Now in this case, I've already did the test. I'm kind of backtracking, you know, just to get you guys in the loop. And zero PSI on the number 8 cylinder. So when we call the customer, he says, "Oh, wait a minute, I think I got a warranty on this engine." What are you talking about? Junkyard engine, they're going to stand behind it, but they want to know where the loss is. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to pull the valve cover. It's a 3-valve engine. It's really difficult to get all the valves closed at the same time. So just going to pull the valve cover, pull the followers out, get all the valves shut, 100% shut, put air in the cylinder, and see where it goes. I want to do a leak down test on this engine, but I want to make sure without any shadow of a doubt that the valves are closed. These valve covers come off easy enough, so I'm taking the valve cover off. I'm not going to fool around with a guessing game. You know, you can put a whistler into the spark plug and crank it over, and when it whistles you're coming up on compression, and go that route, but I'm not taking any chances. So let's have a look. It's a little dark down in here. So I've got my compression tester in there. I'm just taking a straighter valve out of it so we can hook air to it. And I've got our intakes, our lobes are up, and our cam, our lobe is up. And like that exhaust valve right there on cylinder number 6, the cam lobe is got it pushed down, so that exhaust valve is open. So in that case, and there, those intake valves are open. In that case, we would spin the motor over. And on these, it's real easy to do. You've got a way over there. That's the trigger wire to the starter. So I've just got my starter button hooked to it, and I can spin the motor over all I want. We're already lined up, so let's put some air to it, and then I'll show you that. So this is a really high dollar tool, because I don't use a leak down tester. I just put 100 pounds of air in it and see what happens. And this thing doesn't have any compression at all, so we're gonna have a pretty good leak. So we hear a pretty serious amount of airflow. So we just start checking stuff. So no air coming through there. Our degas bottle's not gurgling. We don't have anything coming through the oil fill. Imaginary oil fill here. I don't have the other spark plugs out, so I can't check that. It sounds really hellacious under here. Look at that cream puff. Oh, we got some serious airflow. So that exhaust valve not operating correctly. So I got one section of my starter button hooked to a jumper wire going to our starter trigger, and then we hook the other one to the positive battery cable. We light up, and if we crank it over, we can watch the cam turn. And we can put those lobes anywhere we want. We know for certain that the valves are shut. Now, you know, the whole idea of doing a leak down test is to make sure that your cylinders are sealing correctly, and you want to do it with the piston at top dead center, as high as it'll go, to where the rod is straight up and down, to where you're not, you know, you're coming up and going back down. You want to get that straight up and down, so when you put air to it, it stays there. You don't want the piston at the bottom, you want it at the top. If it's anywhere in between, the air is just going to roll it down. I don't have to worry about this one. We had 0 compression. You know, if we had, let's say 180 is a good number, PSI, and we had, let's say, I don't know, 120 PSI. then we would need to make sure that, you know, all that's good to go. But in this case, we could put the piston at the very bottom. It wouldn't make any difference whatsoever. And I wasn't really concerned about accuracy because, you know, I figured we had a sealing issue on the cylinder with a valve maybe or something like that. Now I talked to the service advisor and let him know what was going on, so we really need to take the cylinder head off, both cylinder heads, and take a look at the valve and, you know, see what's going on and what's it going to need. Well, this is a junkyard engine that they're going to repair, and the service advisor just told me they are sending a cylinder head, one cylinder head. This one. Didn't say anything about gaskets or anything like that, just a cylinder head. Strange. I mean, just extremely strange. So, I'm going to flat rate this thing. We're only getting one cylinder head. There's nothing in the way over here. I mean, you got maybe rubber band one bolt in around the brake booster. So we're going to rip, grind, and tear. I'm not even going to take the front end off of it. I'm just going to take, you know, the fan shroud out, pop the intake off, the timing cover, rip the chains off of it, get the exhaust manifold undone from the bottom, and pop the cylinder head off, and we'll see. I'm not gonna have time to film it, but we'll look at the aftermath once I get it apart. I'll turn the camera on, and maybe by then the cylinder head will be here, and we can make fun of this whole fiasco that's getting ready to take place. So I'll check back in after, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, whenever I get around to it. Gonna treat this truck a little differently. I'm actually gonna flat rate this truck. I didn't even get a chance to tear it apart. I mean, we told the customer, well, the customer said he had a warranty on his engine that he got from the junkyard, and we called him and said, hey, something's wrong with the exhaust valve's not sealing, air's going out the exhaust pipe. They sent a cylinder head. I mean, no questions asked. I said, okay. Next thing you know, the cylinder head shows up. So I'm not gonna pull the front end off of it or pull the cab or anything like that. I'm gonna just snatch this cylinder head off and put a new one on it. Some guys will take this, strip this whole front end off here. I don't know, I have mixed emotions about that. I mean, you can strip it off and you can get right in there and kind of stand in front of the engine, but I mean, by the time you do all that, you could have just had the cab off. But this is not a diesel, and there's plenty of room. If you look back here, it's just a 5.4. I mean, there's tons of room everywhere you look. So there's really no reason to do anything but to work on the engine. So I'll take the fan and shroud off, and then that's it. And I can get the intake, valve cover, get the timing chain out of there, and snatch the old cylinder head off. But in the meantime, I gotta do it. You know, you gotta do a few things underneath it. And this lift, oh man, she's hurting. Some of these Super Duties I can pick up with this lift. Most I can't, but it's pretty light. I mean, he's got a generator in the back. I don't know if he's got any tools in his boxes, but I'm going to attempt to lift it, so we'll see what happens. It is an 8-foot box though, so it may stress things a little bit, but let's give it a shot. So the very first thing to do before anything is to put the vehicle in neutral. So we can roll it back and forth if we need to. Those guys that, you know, they write the shop manuals or whatever, make sure the vehicle's in park, the parking brake's set firmly, and wheels chocked. They don't work in the real world. So we need this thing in neutral. You don't ever want it in park if it's on a lift. Always neutral. But if it's in neutral on these newer ones, the prindle lights up, stays lit up. You can't turn the key all the way off, and it will kill the battery. So second step is remove the negative battery cable. All right, let's see what she's got. Good to go all day. I will tell you, she is sketchy though. Check this out. This will get you going in the morning time. Look at this lift arm. So let's just let's pull a tape measure on this. I don't have a level, so. Alright, so all the way back here, this is going to be accurate for anything, but it'll be close enough. So we're looking at about 58 inches. And over here, $55 inches. Look at the, let me get under here. And you can see that arm just kind of takes a hard bend there. We're got our adapters maxed out here, so this thing's like a really bad erector set. Oh, man, that is beyond awesome. Awesomely bad. Now, this side doesn't look too bad. Okay, I can live with this side. That's pretty nice there. But that side, man, she's just, the peg's leaning out like that, the arm's leaning down, you know, it's just good times. Good times to be had. So why is it even in the air when we need to lift it? Mainly to get to the exhaust, and it's a little easier to get to the balancer. So there's the balancer. So we'll access the balancer from underneath. Go ahead and drain the radiator from underneath to get it. The drain cock broke loose, and the exhaust pipes. So I need to, you know, get the either crawl around on the floor underneath it, or, you know, take my life into my own hands and lift it up. Once we get this fan and shroud out of the way, it opens up a ton of room. It's just a matter of, you know, just got to lean over the radiator. But the only aggravating part is the power steering pump's bolted to the front cover. So we got to get the power steering pump off the engine, just let it hang. Other than that, it's pretty easy. The AC compressor stays on the block. We don't have to worry about it. We got a rat's nest of wiring harness over there. Somebody's had this, when they put this engine in, they busted all the connectors, so it's kind of aggravating. But clean all the dirt off of that valve cover, and we'll start ripping and tearing and get this thing apart. This could be difficult to film. It's not could be, it's going to be difficult to film. I don't know how much I'm going to film. I may, I don't know. I don't have a really good way to get the camera in here. I need to get moving on this project, get this thing apart. Because I've got everything to put it back together, so I need to get moving. I got a lot more stuff to do. So I think I'm going to leave you guys in the dark and put the camera away and just rip this thing apart to a million pieces and kind of do an update where we're at and what it looks like, and this, that, and so forth and so on. So I got to looking at this thing. The more I looked at it, it's so easy to get this radiator and radiator support out of the way. It would be foolish to lean over the radiator. Plus, the way the radiator sticks up over the support, it's just a one core. It's real. I mean, you could bend it. With me leaning over that thing, I could bend it and damage it, and didn't want to do that. So it took a few minutes and took it off of there, and now I can stand up, stand right in front of it and work on it. Okay, so I want to show you what I was talking about the other day on the ambulance. Alright, let's see here. Our keyway's up straight up 12 o'clock, and our dot is over here. It's not at 6. So that having that dot that far over brings the pistons down below the deck, so we don't have to worry about any valve to piston issues when we take this thing apart. Now I'm only doing this one head, which I don't agree with, but that's what they want, it's what they're getting. So I'm not even gonna mess with this chain. I'm just gonna leave it intact. I'm not even gonna fool with it, because this is not getting any new chains or anything. And I'll just take this chain off and just let it lay, I'll let it pile up down here, and then I can stick it right back on there. Now somebody's been in here because they've got the links all painted up, and you can see the timing marks that the cam sensor picks up. It was in our graphs on that video may not be up. Anyway, I'll show you what this looks like on some lab scope, and this is our #1 indicator, and then we've got indicators at 90 degrees there, and this is our #6 indicator. So we want the cams up, which they are. That's the right hand cam and it's up. That's the left hand cam and it's up. And I can take it apart just like it is. And here's our factory links here. So we got our 2 links there and our single link right there. And that should, I'm going to roll this engine over. I want to see if those line back up because I'm very curious. If they do, great. If not, I got to remark them. But I got to get rid of all these marks somebody else made because it's confusing. So I'll clean all this up and continue to take it apart. So there's our timing mark. Oh wow, this light's so bright. And there's our factory link. Our factory link is 1 tooth off. Same way with up here, you can see it's just 1 tooth off. That should be, chain should be over. That was 1 tooth off also. No biggie, no biggie. I'll just remark these and then continue on. So to go over what I'm getting into here, I'm not going to take any of these finger followers out. So, when I take this chain off, this cam's going to have some pressure on it. It's going to want to turn. It's going to want to turn anywhere it wants. And so I just want to make sure the pistons are below the deck. And when I take the chain off, I'm just going to let the cam go to any whatever relaxed position it wants. But I want the time marks in the top position. If they're down at the bottom, then I would physically have to roll the engine and then separately roll the cam, that kind of thing. I don't want to do that. I want them all set as if I were timing the motor to begin with before I take it apart. Much easier to put about here. not going to be able to see this rear chain because front chain blocks it. So I'm just simply marking the bottom of the chain to the front of the chain, the bottom of the back link to the front of the bottom of the front link, so I can match them up. And that's easy for me to say. Alright, so now I'm going to take the tension off of this chain and we'll let it relax. I'm just going to use a breaker bar to hold it because I don't know which way it's going to want to go. So I use a breaker bar instead of a ratchet. So we've still got tension on the chain at the moment because of our, still got tension on the cam because of our chain. And that's it. That's all it moved. Just one link. So we're good to go. Don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm just going to take this chain, kind of wrap it around to where it won't get dirty. Try to keep it as clean as possible. That's pretty good. That's pretty good there. Take the guide off. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but the guide just shattered. So now I need a guide. We get some rough handling taking his head off. So take it off. I don't want to get damaged. Sit over here on the bench. just working on diesels, which are extremely tight. See how many of these I can reach with an impact. That's that on that side. I'll get these. They're ratchet. I think these will clear the booster, which would be nice. Because then I don't have to rubber band them in. Six, 7, 8. So they all clear the booster, but the back one won't clear the firewall. So I'm going to have to rubber band it in. Use this to hold the head bolt in. I can pry the head up off there. Get the head, set it out, set it out. Had to put the brakes on this job. Came to a grinding halt pretty quickly. Whenever I do have a proposed internal engine problem, I like to do a tear down. I like to get the okay to do a tear down and see what's going on with it. In this case, they just wanted to stick some parts on it. Once I tore it down, that's what we found. Big old chunk of the exhaust valve's gone. Now, the piston looks about like that cylinder, combustion chamber. So that's a good one. It's in good shape. Lighting's terrible. And this is one that's had metal rolling around, getting beat up pretty heavily. So the piston looks about like that. There's no holes in it or cracks, but it looks like that before the chunk of valve made it out the exhaust there. On top of which, this thing, they put this thing together at some point in time with the cheapest gasket set made. I don't know where this thing came from, but I mean, everything on it's being called into question. The intake, the valley is completely full of antifreeze, and there's no antifreeze in there except for the heater return tube that goes to the back of the water pump, and that's not leaking. So I get to looking a little more closely at this crossover tube, and the gasket that seals it it's completely flat. There's no gasket there. It's just nothing. So it's just been dumping antifreeze into the valley for who knows how long. So now everything, everything about this engine is, to say I don't trust it is an understatement. So I'm gonna let them make the call. Do they want to run that short block with that pistons beat all up? And then on top of that, I've got to undo this chain or get this chain to work. I need to roll the engine because I got to get that piston up to the top of the deck and back down to the bottom. Look at the bore and all that good stuff. So yeah, we're done for the day. We're coming to a grinding halt.